I really like the people there. Like that was like one of the huge things for me was meeting the people because my mom and dad, they came from Mexico, so they always lived in small villages. And so we got to go to Viñales, which was a small village. And I got to meet a bunch of like really interesting people there. It really like opened my mind to different like societies because I was stuck in Washington, right, for like all of my life. So it's a lot more different here because it's more like media, but over there they don't really have a lot of media there. So it's more of a like having to actually talk to people and like expressing emotions in like a deeper level because for instance, the people I was living with, they were two old like grandparents and they had grandchildren and children and all that. I was talking to them and they always talked about like really cool things about Viñales and really cool things about their grandchildren or their daughters. So that like connected me to them. And then at the very end, they gave me a pineapple, like as I was leaving. Yeah, as like a parting gift.
There were honestly so many. I think one of them had to be doing a walking tour of Old Havana because it's just everything. When you look up Havana like in Google Images, that's kind of what you see is the neighborhood of Old Havana with all of the really colorful buildings and the things that look almost like Europe, to be honest. And so it was just really cool to like see that in person. You know, you see things on the internet that you think, oh, I'll probably never see that, and when you finally see it, it's really eye-opening and just really amazing. There were a lot of kids just wandering around Havana because, you know, it's just kind of what they do, and I found one of them, and he told me his name. I said, what's your name? And he said, Angelo. And so I introduced myself to him. We kind of had this little like connection. I gave him a piece of gum and he gave me a hug, and really it was just really great to be able to interact with some of like, you know, a local kid like that. One of the biggest lessons that I learned is just how much I take for granted, you know, like in my home country. There are a lot of places that you can go and you just don't have a lot of the things that you have access to here in the US and like especially like where we live. So I think it's just what I really learned about is just how much I take for granted my home country, and just think about how like other people live. It really just gave me insight to how people in other cultures and societies just live their lives every day. It's just, you'd be surprised how different it is.
Being able to connect with people and like talk to them, talk about how they live and what they do, and living in that moment with those people. There was one time we were out pretty late and we got milkshakes, and we were just hanging out in this kind of social area in Havana. It was outside and you could see the ocean, and these two guys came over and they just played music for us. They had a bongo set and a guitar, and they just played and sang, and we sang with them, and we just talked, and it was wonderful. Live in the moment. The people in Cuba are some of the kindest, most strongly spirited people I've ever met, and I think that it's a spirit you don't find in the US anymore. Not nowadays. Not when we're all looking down at our screens or focusing on what we have to do tomorrow. That ability to just live there and think about today, like, and enjoy today.
The lesson that my students need to learn, that I want that they learn, that friendship, compassion, and love can never be defeated. That's a lesson that I want for them to learn. It made me feel that we are just, everybody are bound by our humanity.